Hey, battle brothers and sisters, ready to purge the galaxy of heretics, tyrannids, and anything else that dare stand in your way? Whether you're jumping into operations for some adrenaline-pumping PvE action, or diving into eternal war to prove your worth against other players, one thing's for sure, you'll need the right class to get the job done. But let's face it, not all classes in Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2 are created equal. Some are built for pure carnage, while others offer a bit more finesse. Now, don't get me wrong, every class has its moment to shine. Maybe you like to be right in the thick of things, smashing skulls and taking names, or perhaps you prefer to hold back a bit, supporting your squad and raining down devastation from a medium range. And let's not forget those of you who enjoy picking off enemies from afar, staying just out of reach while you rack up those kills. The good news, there's a class for everyone. The bad news, not all of them are equally effective in every situation. So, what's the best way to choose? Don't worry, we've got you covered. We've been deep in the trenches, testing and playing all 6 classes across every battle scenario. From operations to eternal war, we've ranked them all to help you decide which class is best for you, whether you're aiming for the top of the leaderboards or just looking to have a blast obliterating your foes. Ready to find out which classes are the Emperor's chosen and which are destined for the backlines? Stick around, we've got the ultimate tier list coming up. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking classes in Space Marine 2. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. First, let's start with the best for PvE.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Sniper and Heavy. Alright, let's talk about the Sniper and Heavy classes in Space Marine 2. Both of these classes have their merits, but honestly, they're not exactly what you call MVPs in operations mode. So, let's break down why they're hanging out in C-tier, shall we? First up, the Sniper. Now, I know what you're thinking. Long-range specialist, powerful weapon, invisibility. Sounds like a winner. But hold on a sec, imagine dropping a sniper into a chaotic battle against a horde of 50 or more enemies. Sounds like a nightmare, right? That's exactly where the sniper struggles. Sure, picking off a few enemies from a distance is fun, but when you've got tyrannids swarming your position, you'll find that your powerful rifle doesn't do much to stop them from closing in. Suddenly, invisibility feels like more of a last-ditch panic button than a strategic move. And yes, you can use that invisibility to revive a fallen comrade or sneak out of a bad situation, but let's be real, there's almost always another class that can handle that better. When the mission calls for versatility, the sniper feels like a one-trick pony, and that one trick just doesn't work too well when you're up to your elbows in alien bugs. So, while you might look cool in a cloak, you're probably going to spend more time running or reviving than actually making an impact. Now, let's talk about the Heavy class. It sounds like the perfect pick for PvE, right? Big guns, heavy armor, what could go wrong? Well, let me tell you plenty. The Heavy class shines when it comes to laying down firepower from a distance, but get them up close and it's a whole different story. The lack of a melee weapon is a serious problem. If a horde gets up in your face, you're basically a sitting duck with a really big gun. The Iron Halo might save you from some range damage, but in those close encounters, it's like trying to stop a tidal wave with an umbrella. That said, the Heavy does have its moments. If you're looking to turn enemies into a fine mist from a safe distance, this class is fantastic, especially with weapons like the multi-melter. But once again, its niche is pretty narrow. In Tyrannid missions, where swarms are constantly closing in, that lack of melee versatility is a deal breaker. You might find yourself wishing you had a little more punch up close when the bugs start biting. So, what's the bottom line here? Both the Sniper and Heavy classes have their uses, but they're far from the all-stars of operations mode. They're great in certain situations, the Sniper for picking off key targets from a distance, and the Heavy for suppressing enemies with a barrage of fire. But when it comes to the big picture, their limitations are pretty glaring. If you're looking to dominate operations mode, you might want to look elsewhere. Still, if you enjoy the challenge of working with a less conventional playstyle, or you just love the feel of a high-powered rifle or a massive cannon, there's no harm in giving these classes a shot. Just be prepared to do a lot of running and reviving, or reloading, and that's why both of these classes are chilling comfortably in the C tier. Fun, absolutely. Effective? Not so much. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Vanguard. Alright, let's dive into the Vanguard class in PvE. Now, don't get me wrong, Vanguards can hit pretty hard. With weapons like the Melter Rifle or the Instigator Bolt Carbine, you're definitely packing some serious firepower. And let's not forget that secondary weapon of yours. It's always nice to have a reliable backup when things get rough. Plus, the ability to restore ability charges through executions is a huge win, especially in those nail-biting boss fights or high-risk scenarios. But, and this is a big but, there are some major trade-offs to consider. The Vanguard's armor is notably thin, which can be a real issue. Imagine using the grappling hook to zoom across the battlefield only to end up right in the enemy's face and then getting taken down because you're rocking just 2 armor slots. It can be a bit of a head scratcher, right? Sure, it's a great way to jump into the action, but you're often left vulnerable when you're up close and personal. And here's where it gets a bit tricky. Combining melee and ranged combat might sound awesome on paper, but in practice, it can feel like you're getting the worst of both worlds. You're trying to juggle the advantages of long-range firepower with the up-close chaos of melee, and it can end up being more of a hassle than it's worth. So, while the Vanguard has its moments, it's not without its quirks and challenges. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, tactical. Alright, let's dive into the tactical class in Space Marine 2 and why it's such a fantastic pick for PvE. Imagine you're in the thick of a horde, surrounded by enemies on all sides. With the tactical class, you don't need to worry about being overwhelmed. Your autobolt rifle is your best friend here. Its rapid fire will shred through enemies, while your secondary weapon ensures you're always ready for anything. And don't forget, while a melee tool is handy, it's not your main focus here. Sometimes, you just need to mow down those foes from a distance, and the tactical class excels at that. But it doesn't stop there. When you're up against a boss, the tactical class really shows its worth. You've got the firepower to expose those weak points and hit them where it hurts. Whether you're dealing with a massive beast or sneaky enemies hiding in the shadows, your tactical skills and weapons have you covered. Your ability to pinpoint hidden threats means you're not just fighting effectively, you're also helping your team dish out even more damage. So, while the tactical class might not specialize in every single aspect of combat, it's incredibly versatile. It's like having a Swiss Army knife for battle. From clearing hordes to taking down bosses, this class can handle it all. Sure, other classes might have their niches, but the tactical class's broad capabilities make it a solid choice for any situation you might face in PvE. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Assault and Bulwark. Alright folks, let's dive into the world of Space Marine 2 and talk about the top tier classes you absolutely want in your PvE arsenal, the Assault and Bulwark classes. Whether you're charging into a horde of Tyranids or trying to survive an operations mode mission, these classes are your best bet for a successful run. First up, let's chat about the Assault class. If you're someone who thrives in the chaos of close quarters combat, this is your go-to. In PvE, dealing with hordes is the name of the game, and the Assault class excels in just that. With its nimble build and fast melee weapons, you can easily dodge and parry your way through a swarm of enemies. The Assault class isn't just about melee though. Its jump pack allows for swift entrances and exits, making it a versatile choice for both getting in and out of tight spots. Now, let's not forget about the Bulwark class. This one's all about tanking and crowd control. If you're looking for a class that can handle the heat of a horde while providing some much needed support, the Bulwark is where it's at. Its ability to restore shields for both yourself and your teammates is a game changer. Imagine charging into the fray, getting swamped, and then popping your skill to turn the tide. It's like having a personal shield generator on standby. Speaking of shields, the Bulwark's massive armor and heavy weaponry make it a solid choice for those who like to be in the thick of things. You might find yourself overwhelmed at times, but with the Bulwark's defensive skills and ability to rejuvenate shields, you can hold your ground and keep the pressure on. Mastering its combos and knowing when to activate that powerful skill can make you nearly unstoppable. The real beauty of these S-tier classes lies in their ability to complement each other. Pairing an Assault class with a Bulwark can create a perfect storm of offense and defense. The Assault's speed and agility make it great for dealing with swarms up close, while the Bulwark can handle the front lines and support the team with its shield restoring skills. So there you have it. Whether you're charging in with the Assault or holding the line with the Bulwark, these classes bring their A-game to PvE in Space Marine 2. Don't underestimate the power of combining these roles. They can make all the difference in your operations mode missions. Get out there, master these classes, and show those Tyranids who's boss. Now moving on to the best in PvP. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Vanguard. Alright, let's dive into the Vanguard class in PvP for Space Marine 2. Now, if you're rocking a Vanguard, you might find yourself zipping across the battlefield, charging at enemies like a hero in a movie. But here's the catch, you might end up right in the face of a bulwark. These guys are tough with their high armor, and they're more than ready to put you down with a single melee hit. So, if you're charging in without backup or a strategy, you might be in for a rough ride. The Vanguard class can be super fun when you're picking off enemies who are already low on health. Think of it as a sneaky assassin role where your job is to finish off weakened foes. But let's be real, if you're looking for something more versatile or more tanky, you might want to check out the Assault class. It's got the power and resilience that the Vanguard sometimes lacks, and it's perfect if you're looking to stay in the thick of things. So, if you find yourself struggling with the Vanguard in Eternal War, remember, it's all about strategy. Maybe keep your distance until enemies are vulnerable, or consider switching to tactical for those dire situations. At the end of the day, it's all about finding the class that fits your playstyle and helps you get those victories. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Tactical and Assault. Alright, let's dive into the Tactical and Assault classes in PvP for Space Marine 2. First up, the Tactical class. Now, in operations, the Tactical is a solid choice, but when you step into PvP, things get a bit trickier. This class, with its fast pace and versatile abilities, can struggle against some of the heavier hitters. The key here is to play smart and leverage the Tactical strengths to outmaneuver your opponents. In a direct clash, especially against melee heavy classes like the Assault or Bulwark, you're going to find yourself at a disadvantage. The Assault class excels in close quarters, and the Bulwark has that annoying defensive shield. Your best bet is to avoid them in direct combat. Instead, use your speed and agility to your advantage. Keep your distance and use cover. If you can stay out of their melee range and avoid their heavy firepower, you might just come out on top. Now, let's talk about how to handle those tricky situations. When facing an Assault, remember, they're a beast in close combat, but not so great at range. Use this to your advantage by staying at a distance. For the Bulwark, try to get around their shield and strike from behind or use cover to stay safe. And when it comes to those pesky heavies with their powerful ranged weapons, cover is your best friend. Use your tactical skills to reveal any hidden snipers and take them out from a safe spot. On the other hand, the Assault class shines in PvP if you play it right. The jump pack is your best friend here, letting you surprise snipers or quickly engage enemies like bulwarks and heavies. But don't get too cocky. While the Assault is great for quick, high-impact attacks, it's not unbeatable. Its melee skills are strong, but it's not as durable as the Bulwark, and it lacks a primary weapon for ranged combat. So, if you're rolling with the Assault class, build it carefully and use that jump pack to your advantage. Just keep in mind, you're not going to be the top dog in every fight, but with the right strategy, you can still make a big impact. Stay mobile, capitalize on your strengths, and watch out for those moments when you're outmatched. In summary, both the Tactical and Assault classes have their niches in PvP, but they each come with their own set of challenges. For the Tactical, it's all about smart positioning and leveraging your abilities to counter specific threats. For the Assault, use your speed and jumping abilities to surprise and overwhelm, but remember to stay aware of your weaknesses. With these tips, you'll be ready to take on the competition and make your mark in Space Marine 2. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Sniper. Alright, let's talk about the Sniper class in PvP for Space Marine 2. This class is a game changer in a 6v6 setup. Unlike in chaotic, swarming battles, the Sniper shines when you've got just a few enemies to target. With a primary weapon that dishes out serious damage and a secondary that's perfect for close encounters, you're set up for success. Position yourself well, and you can either camp in a strategic spot or pick enemies off from a distance. The real key? Using your skills wisely, whether that's to avoid a bulwark's charge or to slip away from an Assault. Mastering the Sniper in PvP is surprisingly straightforward. If you've got decent aim, you're halfway there. Just make sure to steer clear of melee engagements, they're not your friend. Instead, focus on keeping your shots on target and saving your special abilities for those clutch moments. You'll find that the Sniper isn't just effective, it's a blast to play once you get the hang of it. So, if you're looking to dominate the battlefield and keep those respawn times to a minimum, the Sniper class could be your new best friend. With a bit of practice, you'll be racking up the kills and avoiding the respawn screen like a pro. Just remember, good aim and strategic positioning are your best allies. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Bulwark and Heavy. Alright, let's dive into the S-tier classes of Space Marine 2 and see what makes them stand out in PvP. First up, we have the Bulwark, and let me tell you, this class is a game changer. In PvP, being a melee character might seem like a risky move. You're charging into the thick of things, leaving yourself vulnerable to snipers, tacticals, and anyone wielding a ranged weapon. But here's the twist, the Bulwark thrives in this chaos. Why? Because it packs a shield that blocks incoming ranged attacks. That means while you're smashing away at enemies, you're also protected from a lot of the damage you'd normally take. So, if you want to dominate in Eternal War, the Bulwark is your go-to. Drop your skill on your squishier teammates or charge headfirst into battle, and you'll be a force to be reckoned with. Next, we have the Heavy class, which is a complete contrast to the Bulwark. While it might not shine in PvE due to its focus on melee, it absolutely excels in PvP. Picture this. You're keeping your distance, picking off enemies from afar, and activating your Iron Halo to shield multiple allies. It's the ultimate DPS support combo. In PvP, you're not likely to face the same swarm of enemies that you would in operations mode. Instead, you get to control the battlefield from a distance, making the Heavy class incredibly effective. It's all about staying out of the fray and leveraging your range capabilities to the fullest. Now, let's chat about why these classes are so effective. The Bulwark's strength lies in its ability to be a frontline tank while still dealing significant damage. The shield lets you absorb damage that would otherwise be a major threat. On the flip side, the Heavy class's power comes from its ability to stay at a safe distance while dealing massive damage. The Iron Halo isn't just for show, it's a game changer in protecting your team and making you a key player in any PvP match. It's clear that these classes excel in their respective roles. The Bulwark, with its melee prowess and protective shield, can dominate close quarters combat, making it a nightmare for opponents. Meanwhile, the Heavy class, with its focus on ranged attacks and team protection, can control the battlefield and provide crucial support from a distance. So, if you're looking to step up your PvP game, give these S-tier classes a shot. The Bulwark will let you charge into the heart of the action with confidence, while the Heavy will let you play it smart and safe from afar. Either way, you're bound to have a blast and leave your mark on the battlefield. That's it for today's deep dive into the S-tier classes in Space Marine 2. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.